Just on my way home from work, thought I'd pop in for a quick vlog, let you know what's going on. So this topic I want to revisit. One of my early videos I spoke about my test and, you know, how I felt about my motorcycle test. Well, obviously I'd passed that, and I've obviously got like nearly a year's riding under my belt now, so I just wanted to do a bit of a review video and obviously go over that topic again, because the first one, my audio was pretty sucky. So let's get to it. Obviously I live in the UK, so there's a bunch of tests to go through. Obviously, you know, my dad and other people had granddad rights whereby you got asked to go around a bit of a loop, come back, stop, and then you were given a test. These days it's not so easy. Obviously it goes on age, it goes on what type of bike you want to ride. You're also restricted by age on what bike you can ride, whether it be 50cc, 125cc or brake horsepower or any of that. Obviously me wanting the Harley-Davidson V-Rod, I wanted to be have an unrestricted license, sorry. So there was a bunch of loops that I jumped through to get it. With me being relatively new to the biking scene, I was old enough to just put straight in from a direct access, which I did do. That wasn't until after I'd actually passed my theory test. With that being said, let's jump into the theory test part of it. The theory test really is two tests. It's made up of obviously a theory multi-choice type test, where it asks you different questions about, you know, stopping distances, signs, things to look out for on the roads, and you basically get a bunch of questions. Sorry, a bunch of answers, and you just pick which one you think best suits the question, and away you go. Hopefully you pass it. The second part of the theory test is your hazard perception. You basically sit in front of a computer and click a mouse when you see a hazard either approaching, developing, or happening. I got myself pretty worked up for that, but you know what? There's plenty of information online. You can learn it for free if you want, or you can do what I did and go on eBay and buy a CD with what you need to learn on it really cheaply. I think I bought mine for less than a tenner, delivered, and it had both discs, and it's in date, and you know, I don't think the regulations have changed that much now, so you could probably still use it again this year. So there's deals to be had, but don't sweat it. Just make sure you learn what's on the CD or on the internet, and you'll be fine. You basically learn what the test requires. You don't necessarily use on the road what the test requires you to learn, so bear that in mind. It's obviously good practice to know everything you can, and it stands you in good stead when riding, but just be confident and know that, you know, most of your experience comes from, or mine did, comes from riding the bike, my lessons, and obviously just getting out there and doing it. So with that being said, obviously I passed that. Hopefully you do too, if that's what you're tuning in for. The next tests are your mod 1 and your mod 2. Your mod 1 test is basically you're in a big car park, you've got plenty of cones around you, you do a couple of banked turns at speed, an emergency stop, figure of 8, U-turns, things like that. So again, I worked myself up for that because I thought, like, oh, you know, I'm on a 600, what's it going to be like? But did that. There was no issues in that, no problem. What I would say is a bit of a warning to people out there, and maybe a bit of a tip. I know that some people struggled with the U-turns because you've got to turn within a road space. What I found to do is, especially through the motocross days, you know, if I seen a rock or a rut and I looked at it when I was riding my motocross bike, I was going in it. There was no doubt about that. So make sure you turn your head where you want the bike to go. For instance, if you're going to be turning around here from your left to your right, make sure you stick your head over your right shoulder and look at the exit point. Otherwise, you know, if you look at your bars or the floor or your feet, you'll probably end up just stopping, and you won't do it. You know, you won't complete it, and that'll be a fail. So just make sure you get your head on a swivel, like I always say, and look where you want to go. Bit of a tip, it really helped me out. After you've completed your mod 1, which obviously you're going to complete because you're brilliant, you've got your mod 2. Now your mod 2 is a bit more scary. Your mod 2, you're on roads like this, you're on, you know, dual carriageways and things like that. That comprises of 3 main tests. Well, to be honest, let's go 4 tests. Two are pretty demanding. Two of the tests you start before you even exit the car park, your test centre. So the first one is an eyesight test. You know, it's about 20 metres, 25 metres away, don't quote me, but you've got to read a reg plate off a car in the car park. No problem with that. If you've got okay eyes, or you know, you need to wear glasses, make sure you got them, but I wouldn't sweat that. The second part of it is you go up your bike and the assessor will ask you a bunch of questions about your bike. Where would you fill your oil up? You know, what do your tyre, how do you find out your tyre pressures? What would you need to do if you were carrying a pillion? Show me how your headlight works, blah 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 blah, and so forth. Obviously you've been with the bike, your instructors from your whichever test centre you're going with, or test organisation you're going with, will gen you up on that and make sure you understand everything beforehand. So again, you don't really sweat that. Now it's the difficult part. The difficult part now is you need to go out for 45 minutes on a road ride. The first half of it, or the first 3/4 of it, is an instructed ride. So the riding assessor or tester will tell you where to go. So, you know, at this slip road, make sure you're coming off left. You know, at the bottom when you come to the roundabout, make sure you take a right, blah blah blah. Sorry about that, guys. The last half of the test, after you've done that, is the uninstructed ride, or a free ride. You basically get told to follow signs to go back to the test centre. For me, I done mine in Gateshead up in the northeast, so it was basically follow signs for Gateshead, which I did. So if you've got a car licence, or you're out doing your test, or sorry, or you're out already riding bikes and what have you, to make sure you bang that through. Mr. Magpie, make sure you can read the signs, make sure you can follow signs. It's not difficult, they're right in front of you, so just make sure you keep an eye out for them. Observe, observe, observe. My mod 2, I failed the first time. I'm not going to go into it, I already have in the previous vlog, but I will touch on what I did and didn't do. Basically, he took me into a housing estate. I seen a 20-mile-an-hour sign, there's schools and stuff like that, crossings. So I dropped down to 20 mile an hour. We drove around there for quite a few minutes, past the schools, didn't see a 30 mile an hour sign, or that the 20 mile an hour restriction was coming to an end. So I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll just err on the side of caution and I'll keep at 20 mile an hour. Must have kept that 20 mile an hour for less than 2 minutes. There was no one behind me, no one backing me up. There was no traffic. I wasn't holding anyone up. He failed me because I should have been going 30. Bearing in mind, this housing estate was in Newcastle, and I'm not from Newcastle, so I didn't know the area, and I did look out for things. So just make sure you're observing everything. If you see a sign, make sure you get back up to speed. He basically said that I was a danger because I'd kept 20 mile an hour instead of 30. So yeah, I mean, he said I could have been a danger because I was slowing down and I could potentially hold traffic up, but is it better than speeding? You know, if I'd have went over my 30 mile an hour, I'd have failed. So I wanted to just make sure that, you know, I stayed under the 30 mile an hour. And when he gave me the reason, I gave him my reasons, and I said, you know, this is what it was, blah 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 blah. My test instructors were like, yeah, I can't believe it, because I had no minors, no majors, nothing. My page was absolutely empty apart from that. I know that he's got to be black and white and there's no give and take, so, you know, you've just got to get back on the horse, so to speak, and do it again. So I did. I done it again, and I passed it, no problem. So then obviously I was qualified to jump on old Harley Quinn here, who I've been riding ever since. I've been riding the arse of Harley Quinn. What's up, man? Oh yeah, if anyone didn't know, they're a bit cringy like that. My bike's called Harley Quinn. Oh man, I didn't see that car. Oh well, guess I'm going fast. I'm gonna have to nip in. Good lane spacing, like. So yeah, but I've been riding like a year now, or coming up a year. So what have I found? I found that I really love it. I absolutely love it. And the tests and the stress that I put myself through for some of the tests was definitely worth it. Now I'm on the other side of it and I'm fully past. The freedom that you get from owning a bike and riding a bike is fantastic. So don't let it put you off. It's obviously a big thing. It's a lot of money as well. I mean, my direct access, including all the fees and stuff, is probably 500 quid or thereabouts, including like my tests and, you know, my lessons and insurance and whatever. So it can be pricey too, so just bear that in mind. But I absolutely love it. I wouldn't take it back. I'm so glad I've done it, and I'd encourage anyone out there to do it. Just remember to stay safe out there. It's just cool, you know. Words can't describe. It's just, you get on a bike, you do what you want. There is that freedom. You're just free, and it sounds like they're cringy, but you are. It's not like driving a car or anything like that. It's just something different about it. It's badass. But what I would suggest you do is ride for yourself. Don't try and ride for these cars in front of you or the cars behind you. Just be aware that they're there. You've got to ride for yourself. You've got to think about what they're going to do, and, you know, try and be 1 or 2 steps ahead of them at all times. You know, if he turns there, what's my escape plan? If he stops here, where am I going? And I know it probably sounds overkill, but you just have to, because it's just a, you know, I've had so many people pull out on me. So you've already had that one video where someone pulled out on me on the national speed limit road. That could have been really nasty. I was doing like 70 mile an hour or 65, 70. If I'd have come off on that, and I know I've got Kevlar hoodie on and boots and helmet and all that, it's still going to leave a mess. Just try and be mindful. Someone pulled out on me the other day. I'll link it now, see what you think. I didn't react to it too much, because what's the point? Someone did this morning. It's happening to me quite a lot recently. It's just, they don't see you. I don't know how. I mean, if they don't see me, they must definitely be able to hear me. Jesus. Again, I'll link this footage now. What you So there you go, guys. As you could see, you know, they just pulled out of the side road. There was no harm done. Obviously I was able to slow down and manoeuvre, but there was no chance of stopping them. And if it was relying on me and me not seeing them, I would have probably crashed into the side of them and been seriously hurt. You know, whether I was doing 20, 30, whatever, it's still going to hurt. You're still going to be chucked over the bonnet of a car. So just, again, just ride for yourself and make sure you're aware of everything and you've got a good head on you. Well, for me, I wouldn't change it for the world. I absolutely love riding my bike, and you will too. So make sure you get on that bike and do your test. You know, if you've came here, you want advice, this is my 2 pence. But just be aware that I'm no expert, I'm not an assessor. Don't take my word for it. These were my examples, and this is in my experience. You know, I'm riding for me. I'm just a guy on a bike with a camera on his helmet. And with that said, guys, I'm going to wrap the video up. So if you've got anything you want to say, you know, chuck me a question in the comments. No issues, I'll answer it. Or follow me on my Instagram pages and chuck me a message there. My Instagram page is @thescottrod, the same as my Facebook page. Don't worry about it. Chuck me a message. I'll make sure I respond. If I can help anyone, I can. I will. So until next time, guys, make sure you're safe out there. Go get that test. Don't let it stop you. And if you fail, try again, just like me. Make sure you get back on the bike. There's nothing more disheartening than wishing later in life, oh, I wish I'd have done that. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and until the next time, I'll catch you later.